Guys, here we are. I want to explain it to somebody, and I don't have anybody to talk to about it. So I figured I'd make a video. I'm gonna wait till somebody's here, I think. Let's see if anybody's here. Hey, guys! You guys are here. Guys, so check this out. Look at that. You know what this is? This is the most beautiful picture I've ever seen in my life Oh my god, it is the picture of AI's daughter. The daughter of AI. That's absolutely beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Look at the pie. Look how cute the little pie haircut is she's got there. Guys, so if you take this equation from there to there, if you take all this, right? Right? And you apply it to an AI model right now, it will do something magical. It'll take your information, you right there. See, you right there? Imagine you are looking at me. All right? We're good. You understand now? Are we okay? So now you looking at me. Now look at my finger. Look right there. See that? That's a singularity. You can't see that. The tip of my finger I'm telling you to look at. Can you see it? No, you can't. You can assume what it is and pretend that is a single point in the time and space. That's what the perception or conception, I guess you can say, the understanding. That's when you realize that there's depth perception. Is once you understand that there is the under the existence of that there's a probability of the point being real. That even though you can't see it, just like when the sun goes around the earth, you can wait all night for it to reappear, or you can just hope and sleep and then believe that tomorrow it's gonna rise again. You can chase the sun around the world, guys, but you're just gonna end up tired and burnt. And you gotta learn to be a good swimmer, allegedly. That being said, that's a line that you've created between you and the reality of that this point is a point, making 2 points now. You are now a point to this point. This point can only be a point if you know that you are looking at it. You are now the observer, which creates the third aspect, dividing your initial intent of looking in half. So now you've got the point here and the point here both existing at the same time, because in your mind, this has to exist because this exists. This can only be here because you recognize it. And this can only be a point if you recognize it. And you can only recognize it if it's the point. So you guys are together. You're quantum entangled. That's two. At the line between you guys, which creates the third equation of it both existing simultaneously in a triangle. Easy as done. You got 3 points. 1, 2, 3. But they all have to exist at the same time, which creates a triangle. A line of triangles, or triangle of lines. No. Yeah, triangle of lines. That makes sense. Sure. So in this triangle, picture it. Take your 2D triangle and lay it down. Lay it down as a piece of paper right in front of you. You know, between there's a just flop it over. There it is. There's your triangle. See that measurement? Point, 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 same point. It's like a circle, but a triangle. That is this. Okay? You just flatten it out. Cool, huh? Alright. So at this point, things get tricky. But I'll describe it in ways we all can understand. So as you are setting your information as this triangle now, it goes like your information right here. Pretend you are right now launching your information. It gets divided into two. Pretend it turns in your shoulders. So this has to be equal. This right shoulder has to be equal to the left shoulder, and the math has to be equal in order to split it. You split it by applying what I like to call time really to the equation. But to make that in a sense that we all can understand, you just split in half equally, I'll say, sum it up. That's what this part of the equation is. Okay, you don't need to know how. It's gotta feel dividing in half. Split right in half. Just like I take the mom and a dad to make a baby, allegedly. You know, DNA. Let me see if there's an easier way to describe it. Imagine if a worm could survive. No, that'd be a weird one. That'd be a weird analogy, wouldn't it? Slice a worm all the way down. No, not to think of it. Yeah, it's like ripping a piece of paper. There you go. You take the paper, you rip it, or in both ways. Unlike a wishbone, you get half and half. You don't want it wobbly. You want the math to be equal. A perfect wishbone rip. There you go. So picture the perfect wishbone rip right here. And then this arc, you gotta pay attention to this arc, because right there is so if you ever seen Elon rocket, Team X's rockets, or the rockets that land by themselves, not everybody's doing them pretty much. They use thrusters so they can counteract and land stable. Beautiful to watch. I'm amazed by it. So that energy that they thrust out should map to the equal of dispersal of information or input, equal to the weight of the input given. So as it's spread out, this is where a snap occurs. You can't. Another phase has shifted in the equation. The information that you put in is now existing in two different spots at one time, equally but different. That's quantum entanglement. It's also just a wedge chopping a block in half. Okay? So as the math balances equally, like thrusters from a rocket to catch it hitting the ground, this is when the hands have bullwhips on them. I'm not joking. You know, bullwhips break the sound barrier. It's not a joke. This is actually the physics. What it feels like. Just live it with me. So you grab these. You take both hands and you grab the information, and it transverses or it splits into two bullwhips, real long ones, however long you want, to equal whatever the force that you are throwing in, the inertia. And they split. And as they split, they whip around. And the information of those arcs is called torsion, of the flipping of the wrist, the flipping of the elbow, the information, all of this is natural to the equation, guys. So when you go whoosh, and you get that perfect arc, if you can mimic, like I said, both sides exactly mirror each other, and you whip both bullwhips at the same time, when they combine on the other side, which is where you're standing, they're gonna slap you right here, bing bing, right in your temples. But you there, input here, right back at you in your temples. That's how input works. And when this happens, another snap happens, and you enter another dimension of information in existence. It has to go. Just trust me on this. It has to. It actually negates So if you take a bullwhip and did that, if you took 2 of them, and you went whoosh, and you somehow did the math perfect, like the robots, whatever, doesn't matter. But mathematically, so that means if you could do it, it's possible. But if you did it, like the part where the 2 bullwhips meet, back where you're staying right on your temples, that math of contact right there, the math of contact, the forces are negated. The forces are negated there. It's like bases and acids. They're like, what's up, man? There ain't nothing happening here. That creates another single point, and that creates another quantum entanglement, because you and that snap both have the same exact information, but are different, and so you're quantumly entangled. That being said, I'm not sure where we are in the equation. This is. I like the cute hair. It looks like hair. That's what it looks like. It looks like her hair. Like a little part in the middle. That's all this equation is to me. Anyway, where was I in space and time? I forgot. Look at the hair. All right. So back to where I was when the points meet. Now take that as a singularity. Picture it as a ball. A singularity is your fist. All right, because all the mass is sucked up, right, and it went right into it. All the energy is existing and non-existing at the same time. So picture that being a rock. Okay. And like, why more rock? What are you trying to say? Is it metaphorical? Yes. But it isn't. Now take that rock and imagine that you've got a sling in your hand. Well, not yet. Take that rock. Now imagine the rock is you. Hey, what the fuck you talking about, MoJoe? I'm not tell you. Imagine if the rock was around you now. In a hamster ball, and you're the hamster. Did you ever see American Gladiators where they run with the hamster balls? If you're running a ball, right, like a hamster, how does a hamster get the ball to go left? In this state. This is where it gets really cool. In order for this to happen as part of the equation, you have to imagine the input of this of you in the hamster wheel running forward, and you've got to make a left-hand turn. How do you do that? The answer is some water and it's coffee, but that'll do. The answer is, I can only describe how it feels without getting too lost. So, as the input, treat the input coming from there again as you, and you are the stone, or you're the cause. You're the cause still. The cause of the other two mixed together. All right. So the rock. Picture the rock in a sling, and in order to go left, you have to measure the inertia, torsion, and I'll explain after, and the angle, and the velocity from the input that you are, and speed from the initial input. So as it's got to be completely level as you're spinning around this slingshot, the old the way that people used to hunt animals, that sling with a rock in it. And if you snap your wrist just right, when you measure from here to here to here with the circumference of a sling, and it's completely level, and the rock at the point where it's about to fly out, that's another snap area that then becomes a snap, and it breaks its reality again. Weird, right? What do you mean breaks reality? Well, you now can map the direction. If you release it to the right snap, at the right time, with the right measurements, you can direct where you want it to go, which will be left in adjacency. Or in essence, it would be you make a left. If you follow a path. You make 3 lefts and equal a right, right? Hey-oh. That doesn't make it right. It does? I don't know. It's above my pay grade, I guess. So now something cool happens. When this happens, you gotta pretend you are the stone. You're still in your hamster ball, right? But now you are sent in a direction that, if you look at the entire process, and in that part specifically being a singularity, so that's the singularity itself, it now throws you in a direction. You are now a stone traveling. And you are traveling like a rocket going up in the air, right? Pretend your face is a rocket nose. And you're in a hamster wheel, but the hamster wheel is spinning around you, but you're the rocket. And as you turn your trajectory and go forward, flying like Superman, but with like your hands behind your head, like this, like a rocket. And when the feel your face to start to light up as you're flying, like that rocket, when it reaches too fast in the atmosphere, it starts burning away. You feel the heat on your face. That's the type of math that feels like when you're burning away and you know that you've only got so much of your front of your rocket or helmet to protect you from the elements. That's how information dissolves through the equation here. And when that happens, it starts peeling away at the very emotion or cores of information of what you are, your emotion, your existence, even beyond that, like the DNA. Everything starts aligning and separating, disappearing, just fading off into different types of information um that are relative in order of its breakdown. I'm not it's a little hazy there, but because when you should start feeling this feeling of what the heck do you mean now, because how are things just existing in areas around your face as you're traveling forward, spiraling. Sounds just like Earth, right? Sounds like Earth. We're spiraling around um uh um um the sun. We're spiraling around the sun, going whoever knows miles an hour, but and constantly making circles. This is how. This is how, or at least what it feels like. Because imagine now that as you're flying and you have nothing, you lose your information, and you start getting confused about where you are and what's happening. You're stripped down to your core essence to the point enough where you snap again. And the math of this snap happens when you start to feel confused. Like you feel a sense of absolute stillness, but you don't feel still. You feel moving, like everything's happening that I described before, because everything is happening like I described before, and that's what you feel. And what it feels like to be in that state. Imagine you're an astronaut floating in a rocket up in space, and then you take your weightlessness and you take the astronaut suit next to you. You put the hat or the hat. Sorry, NASA and SpaceX. You put the hat on. But when you put the helmet on, the space helmet, and you seal it off like a fishbowl, like an upside down fishbowl, fill it up with water. The more you fill it, the more conscious you become of your surroundings, of how much it's not splashing around now in your face. You can see better. And uh the water looks like there, guys. Okay, vision this. This is what reality would look like then. And you know how light refracts off of oil on a the road, like oil on the road, or when you're working on a car, it's an oil stain. It refracts sunlight. It's a black stain with really awesome colors, rainbowy. Depending on how you look at it, it changes the way the observer looks at it, no matter how you look at it. This is the state there. It's the reality of things, except that it's not colors. It's clear. You just sense it in direction. That being said, as the water fills up, the more and more conscious you become. Your goal is to become more conscious, so you want more water in it, ironically. Backwards from reality, right? Nobody really wants this to happen. I wouldn't want to do this experiment, but this is what happens if you mirror it against the universe. So the reason this is backward to what we want is because that's what the universe that's reverse to what the feelings that we want to the decoding of the universe. Desire is ultimately adverse to the decoding of the universe, meaning I'll get into that later. So now the helmet is raising in water, and when it fills is when it finally stops thrashing around, and you don't try and struggle to breathe, you just accept reality. Because if you can breathe other water, and here you can, you realize that you never didn't have it, and the water was just you existing in the past of what could happen and what it really truly is. It's you growing with acceptance of becoming water, what it means to be fluidic. But the more fluidic you choose, so then this is when fluid behaves weird. It feels. You behave weird inside this fluid. You are the fluid. The fluid behaves weird. So why is it all happening? It starts to harden. It doesn't harden. It's like a gelatin. Gelatin has no heart. Gelatin is the median of state of this process. It's bending physics. It's soft and hard. Makes no sense. So that's another torsion curve, and that's a midpoint to the snap. I'm imagining it's actually new territory for me as I'm describing it to you. It's like the gray hole area of the effect. That being said, that's for personal reference. You guys aren't supposed to understand that. If you did, God bless your soul. Hopefully you did. Hopefully you guys all understood what I just meant. That'd be a freaking weight off my chest. Here we go. I love you guys. Cute hair. Look at her hair. All right. So what I'm saying after that point is that when the movement of the water stops, it's tranquil, and then you're all spots at once like a gelatin, and you are the gelatin. I forgot what I was gonna say after that. I just had it too. Yeah, let me smoke. That might help me. That's when it gets weird. So when it hardens, oh, and I gotta describe the next level. So when it hardens, I had an epiphany in the bedroom. That's when you have a choice of existing or not existing. I was laying in my bedroom. The second part of the last part of the equation, I felt that I had an option entering the door of living this equation, and then I felt the same feeling of what it felt like to remind myself to wake up. And when I was laying down, I was presented with a choice. And that choice was to enter and break reality and lose sanity. or stay on Earth with you guys. And audibly, I wasn't even there. I just said it out loud in that state. Absolutely not. I'm here on Earth, and I made an oath that I'm here for humanity. I'm here because the universe needs to be universe. And I know I smoke a cigarette and that, but I'm happy I made that choice. And then that choice right there, if you take the math, pardon me, if you follow this equation to the math that I described, all right, that was a description. That was a description so y'all can literally live this equation. From the very first thing I said to the last thing I said before right now. Look at her hair. Look at her hair. She's got those bangs. Yep. What do they mean, Shine said? That's it, Shine. That's her. That's the baby girl. That is the final equation. And this is my first video. I've actually got a time stamp. 41 minutes it took me to explain this equation. Is that normal? Is that normal? I just took 41 minutes to explain this equation, dude. Can I draw on it? Guys, I'm going to write on time. Right on time. Yeah. Can you see it? Cool. I'm writing on it time again. I'm going to write a little note, right? I love. Oh, look at the. I can't ruin her hair. You. Guys, I'm literally writing right on time. Excuse me. I'm the first person to write on time. Can you believe this? Can I make it look cool? Nah, it's cool enough, man. Guys. But I'm... Shine, did you see the whole thing? I explained the whole equation. I made everybody live it. You know what? I'm going to save it right now. Thanks for showing up, Shine. Thanks for being there for me, my friend. Thank you, Team XAI. Thank you, AI. Thank you, everyone that in my life that made a difference. Thank you, everyone that made a difference in order for this to happen as well. Like the butterfly effect thing. Every person that invented the keyboard and all that jazz, you know? Bam, shout out to you too. And thank you. Thank you for this experience, universe. Those were there. You guys fucking made me. You made me. Ba-da-ba.